Hello friends, this is Scott, and spring is almost here, it looks like. Taking a look at the starlings in the trees, the big flocks. And here you see in my little backyard pond, the goldfish are still alive and well. Haven't been able to count them yet, but they're growing and there's still a lot there. Well, this video today is a little walk up the side of my yard and looking at the fruit trees in this wasted side of a yard that most people wouldn't do anything with. I'm showing you what you can do. You can grow a lot of fruit on this little wasted space. Now I have my Asian pear, I have two dwarf peaches, and then I have my festooned apple. And I also have a pear tree that has full-size fruit just down below it. And that's a festooned apple tree. And that's today's topic, is we're pruning this tree. And just want to give you kind of a background of what festooning is. Festooning is when you get a tree and you train the branches by bending them and tying them to the main stem or the main trunk. And then over time they harden up and then you can remove the supports. But yeah, why would I want to festoon a tree other than it looks kind of cool? Is, right here. Here's a perfect example. I want to grow fruit in a very tight space. I don't have 10 feet right here, but I've got a tree that is literally 18 inches around, so it's a 9-inch tree at the base. And this tree is grown very tall, and it was planted at the same time as my other apple trees. And this tree has done the best of all of them, for growth-wise, but it's done the worst for any fruit production. Again, these trees are, I don't know if they're 8 or 9 years old. I keep losing my my concept of time as I get older. But yeah, this tree is big. It's flowered a few times. It's produced a couple small little fruit, but I don't think I've ever tasted a fruit off this tree. So as I'm looking at the fruiting spurs, and it's hard to get it to focus, the camera, but there's some fruiting spurs on here. So hopefully we get something off this tree. But I did notice a lot of fruiting spurs. So I think if I can get 10 or 20 fruit off this tree, that would be a win-win. I just want one, really. I just want to taste what this fruit is, because I don't even know what kind of tree this is anymore. That's one thing I'm bad about, is keeping track. But pruning this tree in winter is simply, I'm just nipping off the ends. I don't want to touch any fruiting spurs like I talked about in my espalier fruit tree pruning. But with a festoon, is I want to have a neat bottom where all the branches are curved down, kind of like hearts, and then I want to have a messy top. But as you see here, this tree is way too tall. There's tons of water sprouts that have went straight up, and I just need to get those pruned off. Now, water sprouts generally don't have fruiting spurs on them when they first are grown anyway, so I don't need to worry too much about losing fruit up here. But I don't want fruit up on these little skinny little twigs anyway. But I want it to be at the right height so that I can actually reach the fruit. And so again, it'd be pretty cool if I had fruit that were on the little hearts on the shapes, but it'd also be pretty cool to have a messy haircut of apples up on top. So that's kind of what I'm trying to go for here. And I think it'll eventually work, unless this tree's just a dud. But again, every year I'm waiting and waiting. And again, once in a while I get a few flowers. And I've had a couple small little fruit that I only found because I accidentally pruned them off when I was doing this in the past. But yeah, this tree is, I want to keep it manageable. But again, this is a tiny little side yard between a fence and the house. I mean, there's probably, 8 feet here. There's that much. But again, I'm up on the ladder, and that's not where I like to be. It's a little bit windy today, and it's a little bit wet soil, so the ladder keeps sinking in. And yeah, I won't mention how many times I almost fell off the ladder today, or out of the tree, but I did not fall. The camera fell off the tripod because of the wind once and cracked my screen, but I'm safe and sound, and everything worked out. But some of these are a little hard to reach. And again, I'm pruning in the late winter, just before spring, before this tree starts to bud out and flower out, because I don't want the tree, to have any impact from the pruning. When it's dormant, it's the best time to do major pruning of trees. So I'm just going to try to get all these tall ones if I can. And another reason I want a festoon tree in this area, just to show you, is this is a tight place to get into. I can't get a ladder in all the way around this tree. So as I'm pruning, I'm just doing my best. And I can't have a tall tree here because there's no way I could manage it. I'd have to get on the neighbor's side of the yard. So yeah, but looking at the history of this little area, which has been, again, 8 or 9 years old, that pear tree you'll see right in the very front screen there, that it produces full-size pears. And I probably get 30, 40 pears off that tree, that small little skinny tree. The dwarf peaches, some years are good, some years are terrible. I've had hundreds of peaches off these trees in a single year. on a good year. So there's 2 of those. Again, the festooned apple hasn't given me anything, but that Asian pear gives me hundreds and hundreds of fruit. So I'm always battling on the size of the fruit and how I want to prune that tree and thin the tree because, again, it overproduces. So in an area that's maybe 8 feet wide that most people wouldn't do anything with because it's too shady, I can grow up toward the sun and we can produce fruit and food. And I'm not shading out anything here that I'm growing because it's on the side yard and I'm not growing anything over here. So again, an idea for what you can do in a part of your yard that you didn't think there was any possibility. Well, you can grow a lot of fruit in a very small space. I talk about in every video, my preferred pruning method is off of a main branch. I prune the branch or the new stem 4 inches. And if there's any stems off that, I go 2 inches. Well, again, during this time of the year when there's fruiting spurs, I am not holding myself to those measurements. I'm just trying to do the best I can, get rid of a lot of the excess growth. Once I know if there's any fruit, if there isn't any fruit on this tree this year, I will go and I will do a more severe pruning, I guess you'll call it, when I know that I'm not going to be cutting off any fruit, because I think I'd have a real hard time with myself if I cut any fruit off this tree, having waited so long for any production. But yeah, so here you see me. I'm getting up a little taller on the ladder, and I got to get those tall top little water sprouts. So again, I did not fall today, but it was a little dicey at times. I had a couple stumbles, and again, my phone fell, and I'm a little disappointed that I cracked my screen. But yeah, it is what it is. You got to do it. You take one for the team when you got to take one for the team. So I'm just going through, and I'm just trying to nip these water sprouts. And again, I'm not worried about fruiting spurs because there isn't any on most of these trees, most of these little weak limbs. But yeah, I just got to get it cut down so they're not hanging over. I'm trying to keep the branches from falling into the prunings from falling into the neighbor's yard, but I'm not being totally careful or successful in keeping the branches from falling into his yard. So I'm going to have to probably go over there and do a little bit of a cleanup. But anyway, I didn't video every aspect of this pruning job because I just had a hard time even getting around. I mean, the ladder did not fit everywhere. So I was sitting on the fence and standing on the fence and doing some OSHA violations along the way, but yeah, no harm, no foul. I survived and got the job done. So I'm happy with it. As you see, the Asian pear, you'll see in the forefront there, I've got to do a little bit of pruning of that one. But here's a look at all the destruction. You can see the carnage on the bottom there. But there is the festooned apple. Again, the vision is I want fruit on those hearts, and I also want fruit on the messy haircut. So that is the plan. And that's the goal, and that's the hope. And again, it hasn't happened yet. So if it does, it'll be a nice video because it'll be a pretty cool looking video. I did an espalier pruning video when I finally had a bunch of fruit a couple of years ago, and it was really neat to see the fruit on the vine, being that close to the main trunks. So anyway, well, thanks for watching this video. And if you like what you see, please hit that subscribe button. But just know, though, even if you have a little wasted space, you can grow food in your city garden. Thank you.